Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Movie Time with BM. It's always movie time here, and today we will be reviewing Black Widow, which just came out last week. The movie is directed by Kate Shortland, an Australian director, has a runtime of 134 minutes, which is around 2 hours and 14 minutes of movie time. The movie's rating is M here in Australia, so it would be PG-13 in the States. The genre of this movie is a superhero one, as it's set in the MCU. Being the swan song of Scarlett Johansson in the MCU, this movie does a decent job of giving the character a send-off from the franchise as she gears up for one last adventure on the big screen. Black Widow as a movie is average. While it introduces us to various new characters, and we also get to learn more about Black Widow's origin story as a widow and spy. The main actor and actresses in this film are Scarlett Johansson, reprising her role as Black Widow / Natasha Romanoff, Florence Pugh, co-starring as Yelena Belova, David Harbour portrays the Red Guardian, and Rachel Weisz as Melina. The main plot of the story is that Natasha has to face her past as a widow, seek revenge on the director of the Red Room, while trying to make amends with her surrogate family, before getting back to trying to help bring the Avengers back together. I found the tone of the movie to be tense at times, especially in the start of the movie. An example of this is when we see in the opening of the film the score ominous in the background and the screams of the young widows who had been taken in. It was refreshing to hear the names again of Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, as this movie is set when the two characters were still alive in the MCU. For Natasha, family is a big part of her life, as one of her families, the Avengers, were broken up after the events of Captain America Civil War, and she wanted to make peace with her surrogate family after being separated from them after all these years. There were several moments during this movie that I liked most, including the scenes where Natasha takes on all of the controlled widows in the command desk of the Red Room. The sequence of Red Guardian escaping the prison was fun to watch as they battled through the other prisoners and guards. And also, we saw a cool sequence of Natasha using a harness and zipline from the helicopter to pick up Red Guardian as the snow was ramping up rapidly behind him. David Harbour portrayed the Red Guardian well, a big strong man who had a soft heart and liked to crack jokes and lighten up the mood, as well as a standout performance from Florence Pugh as Yelena. This movie sets up Yelena to potentially become the new Black Widow after Natasha has passed on. I'm looking forward to seeing the future of this character. Some of the various camera angles that were present in this film were close-up shots. We see this shot present with Natasha and Melina talking to each other at the compound, and a single shot of Taskmaster seeing Black Widow with his blade in the third act. An extreme close-up when Natasha was going to battle Taskmaster. The camera zooms up to her eyes as we see her getting ready for battle. Long shots, seeing an overhead view of the area in which the characters are during the various scenes throughout the film. And in a single frame, we see Natasha's point of view as she looked down a falling platform. This movie did feel like a filler movie to help fill in the gaps of other movies to set up future events in the MCU. It would have been better if it just focused on Natasha, as she is the main character of the story. But for what we got, considering that the character is already dead, there's not much they could do with that. This film played its part to help set up Yelena to possibly become the next Black Widow moving forward in the MCU. There wasn't a main antagonist in this movie, as we had several side villains, but they did not feel like a big threat throughout the film, nor are they memorable, apart from Taskmaster in my opinion, as he is more well known than some of the other villains who are present. As we know that Natasha lives on past this film, it's hard to get emotionally involved in the story, as we know that she survives past the time frame that this movie is set between. There is a post-credit scene, and I found it interesting as it sets up a new potential storyline in an upcoming series. Overall, even though the movie is possibly the last time we will see Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow in the MCU, I personally thought that although the movie itself isn't anything spectacular, it does help her growth as a character in this big universe. Usually, you would feel excitement when you're watching an MCU movie, but for me, when the credits were rolling, I just fell flat in my seat. This could have been so much better, and would have given more weight to the overall story if it was made earlier on in the Infinity Saga. But I would say it's still worth watching if you're a fan of the MCU or the character. And it was great to see a Marvel movie finally in cinemas after 2 years. It was also interesting to learn more about the backstory of various characters, such as Natasha, Yelena, the Red Guardian, and various other characters throughout the movie as well. I give Black Widow a 6 out of 10, as the film did not have the same impression as it would have had they released the film while she was still alive, whilst also having more impact on the overall story and character. But as I mentioned before, it seems like Yelena is being set up to become the next Black Widow, so the story sets that plot element well for the future. So that's my Black Widow movie review. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed today's review, please consider subscribing and smashing the like button on this video, and turn on those bell notifications so you never miss any of the videos on this channel. Bye for now.